our program, and we are speaking with two young ladies here today who are advocates in our country. Erin Brown is a consultant who is dealing with people who are involved in many organizations and who are disabled in many ways, and should I say challenged.
Well, I find that that's a nice verbiage we like to use in the Bahamas: challenged, differently abled, all of these different terms. But at the end of the day, it's still a part of the disabled community. And we need to get used to saying that it's not a negative thing. I am a proud disabled mother, woman, entrepreneur, athlete, whatever you want to add to it. Yes.
Okay. And there are some people who prefer just to say you're physically challenged.
Yes, but physically challenged would specifically mean to persons like me.
Yeah.
You would not say physically challenged to a person who is hearing impaired or blind or visually impaired.
Right. Okay.
So what would you say, Erin? What would be the appropriate way to say it? Like somebody living with a disability?
Yes,
Is that,
we do not want to use the terms suffering from, victims from, no. It's,
Confined to.
yeah, confined
They like to say
to,
confined to a
yes.
wheelchair.
And these are terms, what I love about the conversation, it encourages the conversation.
Right.
You don't have to be scared to say the wrong things or not do the right thing or offend someone, because I feel I'm more offended when you don't call me disabled. Or I feel I'm more offended when you try to work around it instead of being more direct, because it's a teachable moment. Persons just don't know, and we need for you to be comfortable, because we're not going anywhere. Whether you try to hide us, whether you try to say, well, I don't think she can do that. I have an idea, just ask.
Yeah. How do you manage around the University of Bahamas, Jasmine?
It's tough. It sounds weird, but I am so happy the day I broke that wheelchair and I met Erin. I was in a bad car accident and I fractured my hip. I spent 10 weeks in hospital. I came out of hospital using a wheelchair, but this is actually my second time in a wheelchair. I had a prior accident in 2010, and after physiotherapy, I started walking again. But this time, thought I was well enough to go to school using the wheelchair. I was like, okay, man, I could do this. I know enough people. I'm gonna get the help I need. I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna allow anyone to tell me that I can't do this. Went to school. First bad experience, registration process. I had somebody in an office ask me, why I didn't bring a relative with me to stand on the line? First red flag. We got through that process. I registered for classes. Coming out of class, one of the unfinished ramps that the university had to the classroom door broke my wheelchair. Students ran to my assistants. One of them went to the nurse's office to get the nurse. And it was a horrible experience because the nurse didn't come. The student came back visibly upset. She said that, they said that they just mopped the floor. She's gonna be a few minutes. I sat there on that broken wheelchair for some 30 minutes, and then a security came on a little buggy, on a little golf cart, and he was like, I came to assist you as best I can. The nurse told me to bring you, and I said to him, I have a fractured hip. She is the healthcare personnel. I'm not moving. I don't know if I damage something else. I'm not moving. So he said to me, Mom, the best thing I can do, he got a sturdy chair and he lifted me onto the chair. I was very thankful for that. I told him, I said, I can't get up on the back of your cart. I need her to come and examine me. The nurse never came. She sent the clerk with the wheelchair that was in their office. The clerk told me point blank, she needs to push me where she needs to push me and take back the chair because that's the only chair they have there. I was like, wow, she's not coming. She didn't come to examine me. She's not offering me the opportunity to finish classes for the rest of the day using the chair at the university where I pay school fees. The student put the experience on UB Survival Guide, and it went viral. It had nothing to do with me. I was upset, but that is not something that I would have done. The student put her experience on UB Survival Guide. So you would find that even students that don't have disabilities, they are so helpful and so passionate about us getting what we need at the university. But that is how I met Erin. And that experience, it was horrible. They took months just to put a latch on the handicapped bathroom in the deli, which was one of the only bathrooms on campus that I could use. I am an education major, and the Michael Eldon building hosts classes for education majors, and from the first to the fourth floor does not have a restroom accessible to me. I have to leave the building and go around to chapter 1 to the bathroom. And in their bathroom, they have a handicap stall. However, the toilet is low to the floor and there's no handlebar. On the old side of the campus, there are, so I have to go so far to get to the bathroom. Can you imagine that? We have up a commercial of a student, Gregory Cash, in a wheelchair, inviting students to the University of the Bahamas. That is not accessible to us. We hosted UB Fit. We said that funding was for the students with disabilities. When I watched the commercial for UB Fit this year, it made me cringe. What are we doing with the funding? Nothing has changed in 2 years. Nothing has changed in 2 years. After my advocating and fighting and agitating, I sat and I waited for the president. And I went and I personally saw him.
And what happened?
And I said to him, this is not a conversation just to sit there and have a conversation. You need your notepad. I could navigate that campus with my eyes closed and tell you every lump and bump. So after advocating, they set up a walkabout with the director of engineering, Mr. Ronnie Stevenson. So we did the walkabout. During the walkabout, as I told them, I don't take my chair on this pathway. This thing is not safe. He was pushing me, and I broke a second chair. This was in November, and the university has yet to replace my chair.
How was the chair broken?
He was pushing me, and one of the pathways that I showed them, and I said, this is uneven. This is not safe. And he was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm pushing, and I said, don't take my chair that way. It's not safe. He pushed me, and by the time as we got through the pathway, the front wheel had snapped.
So it would have been the terrain.
So this is some of my plight. When the first accident happened, they weren't sure where my thinking was, what was I gonna do, but I wasn't in that space. I just wanted things to be fixed. So they invited me to be a part of their advisory board. I sat on that board for 2 years and nothing has changed.
In the first incident where you said
The nurse.
that your chair was broken, that the runway broke your chair?
The ramp
The
outside
ramp
of the classroom.
Broke your chair?
Unfinished ramp.
The unfinished ramp outside of the classroom.
It wasn't, how was it unfinished?
it seems as though they made these ramps just to say that, okay, we put in ramps. They're uneven. They're one-sided. So on one side you have a high hump, on one side you have a smooth path.
Okay.
There's no railing, no anything that smooths off the other side. It's doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
So, when you are traversing the university now, you need aid. Wouldn't it be better to have somebody assist you?
So I want to talk about that. So after advocating and complaining, about a year and a half ago, we got a compliance officer. Just within the last few months of last semester, I had a student assist me with getting to and from class. That was wonderful. But what about all the others? My whole thing is, if we're gonna change things, don't try and muzzle somebody that wants change. That's the problem I have, and I think we need more policies in place. And I've said to them, I am willing, I am prepared to work within this office. How can you have an office for students with disabilities on the 3rd floor of a building with a French door at the entrance? What are we doing? It makes no sense. And it's like she said, there are a lot of things that you think are okay. There are a lot of things that you're gonna overlook. Somebody with a disability should be working in that office.
Some people would say, it's an old building and...
No, that's new.
No, I'm talking about the older campus.
Okay.
And that you should have some patience with respect to them retrofitting the building. Are you patient enough to allow that?
The law has passed. I've had this plight for 2 years, and I will say to that, I know that everything takes time, but if we are the university, why can't other students with disabilities be Skyped into their classes? Why am I not offered then independent study? There are several fixes to the problems that exist right now.
I've actually heard this quite often from people with wheelchair, especially, that they actually would have to hold in to go to the bathroom or plan on not eating or drinking.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they have there's a lot of places here where there might be a ramp, but the door's not wide enough. There's no handles on the bathroom. It's just like they pretend to go through the motions of, we've now made this handicap friendly, but it's fake. It's not really the way that they really need it. So as a result, they have to plan on not being able to go use the restroom.
Yeah.
I will say this. I have been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and this means that you're taking a regimen of like water tablets, because you have to flush the fluid.
Right.
I'm retaining fluid around my heart and in my lungs, and not having accessibility to restrooms. A few weeks ago, I found myself in the hospital trying to manage pills, not have to go. And it's something that can't happen, that should not happen.
Yeah,
It shouldn't happen.
It's not okay. It's
It
not
should
okay
not
to just
happen.
overlook it. And that's exactly why we're talking about it and why they're advocating for it. And even, for tourism here in the Bahamas. I was reading that people were very happy about that there was a ramp, let's say from the cruise ship, to go downtown. But once you get past there,
What do you do?
you don't have anything anymore. And the buses and stuff, they don't have lifts. No. There's 3 buses apparently on the island that have lifts available for these people. So the tourist board is saying, make sure you book this months in advance and make sure you have money because this is expensive. And from the cruise ship, you can't get to the beach easily. You can't do these things. They're happy for Atlantis, that Atlantis offers that people could go swim with the dolphins that are in wheelchairs, or they could go snorkeling, and there's some pools that they could get to. But they said the tour bus is there, the shuttle bus that takes you from one side to the other, is not handicap friendly. And so they said, watch out, because you actually, to get from this point to this point, they drew a map. They said, it's 9 miles. It's 9 miles you have to go through on your wheelchair. That's not that friendly. So it's just like a pretend situation.
I call it fake caring.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
while
walking
we're-
through the motions.
While we're on the topic of hotels, 2 bad experience at the Malaya. The other part of the pinning ceremony happened at the Malaya Hotel. Took Erin with me again. We were told that we couldn't park. There were 2 handicap spots at the Malaya Hotel, and they were taken.
Yeah.
Went there on a separate occasion, and
2.
the people were so rude. I asked to speak with the supervisor, and I had a Cindy Albury tell me that my complaint does not matter. Very rude. And I promise, whoever the owner is of the Malaya Hotel, whoever that person is, that I am not finished with that situation. I'm not finished.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that go.
But this is why it's important with disability advocacy and inclusion consultants, because we live in a space where we only think about non-disabled persons. We're not thinking about the whole picture. And that's why these conversations and persons like me who are consultants are here.
Okay. Let's take this final break here on our program, and we'll come right back.